You guys want to see the interview? Well, let me show you. Here, okay. Yeah, I think this is all of it. It's kind of funny, like they mention it like Azzapp Dugalic. That's kind of funny. But I guess they wanted to get like they wanted to do like a recognizable, because they write Azzapp Dugalic, no one will fucking know, you know? It's just like, what are you flexing at that point? Yeah, it's not even a bait, you know? It's not click. So I guess it was a bit of a sensationalism from the paper, right? So they made my first name Azzapp. But I think later they used my full name. Okay. So yeah, gaming industry, esports, and streaming are the fastest growing branches of 21st century. That's like the quote they pulled out. So Azzapp Dugalic is partner Twitch streamer, YouTube creator, and ex-professional league player in League of Legends. Oh, professional player League of Legends. Okay. So they ask, to begin with, can you tell us anything about yourself and how your love towards video games started and all that? And then there's like a quote they pull out. Here it's also fucking hilarious. A bunch of my friends, like even before I even got this, like literally before I got this fucking physical paper, a friend, I think Zikmer posted this, like on a group chat, it's like, Azzapp Dugalic, they were fucking laughing at me. But yeah. Okay, so that's the cover, that's how it looks like. So this is the first January edition, basically. So yeah, this is just continues. I do a lot of fucking talking, because I'm a cunt, I can talk a lot. Okay. See, it's fixed. Azzapp Dugalic Azzapp. My love towards video games was developed in very early childhood. In my 5th year, like when I was 5, I had my first touch. I'm doing like a literal translation here, like as I go, whatever. With the virtual worlds through my PlayStation, my first PC. I was playing old classics like Dune, the grandfather of all RTS, Dune, Quake, Medieval, and this is Quake 2 soundtrack in the background, so you can tell. You can tell. Steel Trap Mind, welcome back. Thanks for 4 months. Appreciate it. Appreciate the support. Here for the cunts. Hell yeah. Yeah, whatever. It's like, yeah. Yeah, it's classic. Shut up. And numerous mini games. The concept of creating a virtual world with its clearly defined rules was fascinating to me. How the fuck do you even, like, I was obsessed by it so much that the video games had a great impact on my brother's development alike. My older brother and me, through our childhood, would draw our own games, I'll eventually show you that one day when I'm ready. We would draw our own games in like notebooks, basically cheap knockoffs of one of our favorite games, you know. So even today, after losing a bunch of those notebooks, I still have a good amount. Okay, so like to fill you in a little bit on that, because it's a little bit like unclear. I guess a lot of people won't know what it is. It's basically like me and my brother would make video games. Like you would draw a video game. So like very famous one was, let's say, RuneScape. So he would love to draw, and I, as a younger sibling, I would imitate, but I went more into like video game direction. So we would draw like video games. So I would draw like Dawn of War, Warhammer 40k, like a strategy game, you know. So I would draw all the units, all the stats, and we would even go as far to make like a map on like a huge paper, and then you would cut out the units, and then you can build them. It would be like a table, like card game, basically. It would play off of turns, but then you'll also draw a bunch of games like a knockoff from Quake, a knockoff from RuneScape. And I would like the initial part would be like, oh, RuneScape, but like it wouldn't be called RuneScape, it would be some cheap knockoff name. And then you would like add the list of all items, the cost, what they do, the defense, the armor, how much strength required to wear them, and then you would start drawing the map, and then we draw levels and little parts, and then like there's so much. There's so much. I have a bunch of those notebooks, so eventually I'll maybe show you. But it's pretty cool. It's quite cool. You would draw video games which no one would ever play. You know, like it's kind of hilarious. It's kind of fucking hilarious. Like you would just draw games and no one would play them. You know. Okay. What are you guys writing? What the hell? Fuck are you guys typing? No, I never had an Xbox. Okay. So, okay. That's when I realized that one day I would love to work on a video game design. Like I would like to publish one of my own games. So sure. Which partially steered me towards studying IT and software development. In the same way, my brother developed passion towards art and drawing, because he was really fucking good at drawing. So he would do a lot of like cartoons and comic books and like short comics and all that. Even as a little fucking kid, so he's kind of nutty there. Which led him to finish the art academy, and now he's a painter. Okay. Because we were from Bosnia and Herzegovina, it was impossible to find video games in our own language. So there was nothing. There was no Bosnian subtitles, no matter which game you played. So. Simply the market wasn't developed enough, so the developers would make it worth their while by translating the games. That is exactly why I learned through early childhood English, through passively playing video games without being aware of it, especially through the game RuneScape, which demands cooperation of a numerous amounts of players from all over the world. Which meant that not only would I have to understand English, I would have to form my own sentences and communicate with people. Because if you play, let's say, Spider-Man 2 on PlayStation, like, you don't have to understand English fully. Like, you could play that when you're like 4 or 5, and you wouldn't really have to understand everything. You would kind of steer throughout the game, and you would like absorb a bit, but you don't have to like know everything, you know. But when you play something like RuneScape, you have to communicate. And if you add friends, then you get into like sentences forming. If you're gonna sell lobsters, you know, selling lobsters 200 each, boom, you gotta write that down, you know? So you go like I specifically remember like learning like how that worked, like each. That's a very weird word that I learned very early, you know? But yeah, because of the trading and all that stuff. Okay. When I got to my 5th grade in elementary school, I know how it works. And you guys, we used to have 8 grades of elementary school, and then you get 4 high school, and then you can choose to go to uni if you want. The fuck are you guys typing? I'm gonna ban my entire chat. What the hell? So yeah, when I was in my 5th grade in elementary school, that's when you get the subject English language. That's when you get English language in Bosnia, or at least used to, when I was young. I realized that that's something that you would have to like explicitly or learn. And I figured that I understand it, you know. So it was like I figured I understand everything. My friends and I, through subsequent years, would go through different phases and would play games such as World of Warcraft, Warcraft 3, Reign of Chaos, all that, Dota, obviously the natural thing. And of course, after that comes League of Legends. That was like 2009 to 10. The main attraction of League of Legends was that it was offering a system of ranking which Dota didn't do before, and that's where my story with League of Legends starts. Because if you guys remember, like, you would play Dota over Garena. So you would play Dota over Garena, and you would have to like create your own lobby, and then people would fill it up, and it would be a bunch of random people, and no one had rating. So when they come in, you don't know if they're good or not. And because I got relatively decent at it fairly early on, so that meant I was better than majority of people. Basic stats. So like, let's say if you're like platinum level, you're gonna be better than 80% of the community. So if you go in, the chances are you're gonna destroy your enemies at the start, because it's just random fucking lobbies. It will be like playing normal games in League, you know, you would just win everything. So you would just, because it's Garena, there was no rating, there was nothing, so people could just go in and out of lobbies. They could go in and leave if they don't like it, you know. So you would get there, you would take first blood, and they would leave. So you would have to like remake a game and then start over, and like 10 minutes of preparation, start the game, and then you would get a first blood in 3 minutes, they would quit. So that was very fucking annoying if you were good, you know? It got very, very frustrating. So yeah, like me and Zikmer and me and Gooba would play like 2v2s, like SDNT, which is like no top lane, and single draft. Single draft, no top lane. So we would get 3 champs to choose from. And then we would play 2v2 and we would have like 100% win rate. Like 20, 30 games in a row, people would just like quit after the first blood, or like they would get destroyed. So it was kind of weird, you know? Anyway, that's where League was really good. Like, you came in clutch with the rating system. So, the next question is, gaming for you is a hobby or a career? This is a very weird question for me, because I don't know. Gaming has always been a hobby to me, like a passion, relaxation, socialization, but I never considered it as a career, because, like, yeah, of course, later throughout multiple different like tournaments, competitions, while I was trying to be among the best players on the planet, I was investing a huge amount of hours on gaming, but I still had other plans if that setting fails. So the fact is that from gaming, like unthinkable small number of humans can live from and build their career. So for me right now, it's very difficult to say, does it present a hobby or a career? I enjoy everything I do, and for me it represents some sort of freedom, because I'm building a profession which didn't exist before. So it's quite cool. This is one of the biggest things about this. It's that you're doing something relatively new. Like, you're exploring new ground, and it's like a developing field, and you can go and do whatever. Like as long as you have people to follow you, you can experiment no matter what. Like, you can just test out limits and see what you can do with this. So I opted out more for like to build a nice community instead of trying to like shield for the numbers, I guess. Because it's very easy to abuse numbers in terms of like streaming. It's if you have any understanding of how the market works, it's fairly easy to manipulate the numbers and get like a huge amount of people getting in here. But I value more quality than quantity in that regard, because what am I gonna do if I have a bunch of 10-year-olds who barely understand shit? Like, I can't talk to them, I can't vent to them, I can't have like meaningful conversations. That's all boring, you know? Like, whatever. So, okay. So, Bosnia, BH Gamer says, you're currently a student of Faculty of Informational Technologies in Mostar. In which direction do you plan to expand your knowledge and skills that you have gained in formal education? As I said in the beginning, one of my dreams was always to publish my own video game. See, I've been telling you guys that. Some parts of IT education on my faculty weren't too interesting to me, so I went on my own and tried to learn a little bit about video game design. I was following various developers. I was studying about video game design. I came to the point where over YouTube tutorials I learned and made my own video games through Unity 3D. You guys have seen those. You remember them? I think they're on Variety channel. I made 2 video games with an intent to learn how to use the engine and how to put the knowledge into practice. So for my first video game it took 3 months, and the second one for a month of constant work with the previously used materials. I've said this before. I'm very proud of my own creations, but of course I don't consider them good enough to be... I don't consider them original and refined enough to sell them and publish them. Their purpose was purely to learn, so that one day I can work on bigger projects. See, like, that's what I told you while I was playing the video games on stream anyway. Because, yeah, I don't really, like, whatever. I want to do something good. What is life of a professional League streamer? So then I go and reference, like, in one of the latest studies in the United States, the most how do you say that? The most, it's not the most valued, it's the most sought after, I guess, career was being a content creator. yeah, like a YouTuber and content creator was among the latest studies. So I read it before. So life of a professional league streamer for a general public sounds very banal and simple. I stream every day about 5 to 6 hours, and that's the portion which is visible to the public. But for your stream to make it in a sea of incredibly talented and passionate streamers, that is not enough. Of course, like not even close. Not even fucking close. Gaming industry, esports, and streaming are the fastest growing branches of industry in 21st century. It's a brutal market which doesn't give any which doesn't guarantee, like, it doesn't give like guarantee. Can you say that? Is that a word? Is that a word in English? It's a brutal market which doesn't like. It doesn't guarantee. Yeah, what the fuck? What's wrong with me? I'm jumping over the languages. Yeah, it doesn't guarantee any like. It doesn't guarantee any success, or does it have a limit on how much time you can invest in it? For me, it's a double-edged sword. I talked about this quite extensively because it's a very, very interesting topic for me. Not many people talk about the psychological aspect of being a streamer, and that's why we get things like, sadly, like Wreckful and Dr. K is filling up a really nice niche in the market because man, streamers are just like they're putting themselves in very dangerous positions without even realizing it. Okay, so it's a double-edged sword. In one hand, you're your own boss, and you decide how much time you're gonna work, so it can be very flexible. But on the other hand, you have to be your own tyrant and deny yourself a great number of pleasures to ensure success. Okay, it's a constant struggle with yourself and your own expectations for the channel. Internet market is incredibly quick, and your channel can oscillate from month to month in great proportions. So you can die in months or go insane in months. Okay.
Hello.
That's during the play.
It says no mic / camera.
Thanks for the donation. I still appreciate it, but that's during the game.
Kappa.
In between we chill. Okay. So it's a constant struggle. This is relatively a new branch of business even in the world right now, and Bosnia is like extremely late, so that's the implication. And I believe that people aren't aware of the implications and the effect this can have on the human psyche, which this career offers. So purely for reference, the best month for my channel was May 2020. May 2020 was the best month for my channel. But I literally worked every single day 12 hours, okay? So it was involved of 12-hour work days. Basically, I worked 12 hours every single day. Online world doesn't know about weekends and holidays. As much as all these websites are pretending like, oh, today is this holiday, today's we're celebrating that and this, it doesn't understand them. Because if you're not working, some of its stronger will is, and he's beating you. Okay, so that's a very, very big point that I wanted to drive home. I used to get up very early to upload a video, which was rendering all over the night because that's the only period my PC was available. After that, it goes a full cycle, which consists of answering all the online emails, like running social networks, answering all the people, networking, coaching, working on new video scripting, and then of course streaming, which is like the obvious part. And after that, right before going to sleep, I would make a video that would go back to rendering. So that would be like a 12-hour day of work for a streamer. There's a numerous, infinite number of tiny things which you can't even like list, which is like thumbnails, like trying to plan what next and talk to other streamers and get into like communities and all that stuff. There's like a bunch of stuff. So how do you find time to do everything? To find time is not easy because you have to balance all the aspects of life because you don't want to go like crazy. If I want to work longer today, I have to deny my own very rare free time. I have to cut short the number of times I go out with my girlfriend, with my friends, or deny myself some physical activity, which is ultimately destructive for the metabolism organism. I found that the best. I found it is the best that in my free time I do something completely different to relax, like reading, playing instruments, like sky watching with a telescope, going out to nature, or even doing some banal physical activities. The time is always low. That's why it's important to try to create a schedule and have a balanced and healthy day. Yeah, streamer being healthy. Omega lul. Well, I'm trying. I went to the gym earlier today. I played guitar yesterday. Like, come on, dude. I'm trying. I'm reading basically every night. So okay. Now they go into like which is they don't know too much, I guess, about the online. So are you the only streamer on Balkan which doesn't like exclusively in English language? Is cooperation with teams from abroad possible? So I'm definitely not the only guy who does it like exclusively in English, but I'm among the first, which is quite accurate. Cooperation with teams from abroad is obviously possible, but you need to have a well-developed brand. Where do you see yourself in the future? As long as there's enough people who will support what I do, I plan to do streaming and creating content. Of course, that is only the beginning, because I stated earlier, I would really love to publish my own video game. I would love to help my brother develop his comic book, maybe create a video game together that we have scripted for a long time and which we've been planning for years. Development of the stream is a great starting point, I guess, for many of my future plans, because if enough people know who you are and you have a base following, it's a lot easier to kickstart an independent project, because that gets rid of the portion of the marketing. Do you have any message to the readers? And this is the end. I would like to tell people reading this that they shouldn't be afraid to try and be who they are, because this is very oriented to the Balkanic region, and people from Balkan should know if they're in chat. Trust in yourself and don't listen to the people who say "Nema to khljeba na Balkanu," which means like there is no bread from that in Balkan, which is like a very, very interesting saying that people always say to like, why are you doing that? That doesn't work on Balkan, you know? That doesn't work here. There's no bread from that. It's like, basically people are just pushing for like standard life, you know? It's kind of like so it's like pushing towards conformity and people being boring and never trying anything different. So you can be whatever you want to be in the next 5 years. Now, of course, the catch is you have to want it hard enough and you have to work in yourself. So do what you love, create your own profession, and build a career that you would like. That's basically what I said. So yeah, I think we did all of it, right? Well, you guys, like, I feel like I was repeating myself in a couple of things, because you probably heard me, like, do a lot of stuff like that. Or talk about similar topics. But it's quite interesting. I felt like it was a nice interview.